evening. How are you?
I'm good, I am really good.
So nice to be in conversation with you. We've known each other a long time.
A very, very long time.
Yeah. God is good.
It sure is.
So tell us about this 7-minute grief release video podcast.
Okay, so the 7-minute grief release podcast is a grief release podcast about releasing grief, as it says.
Does what it says on the tin?
Yeah, on the tin.
Yeah.
And what it is giving people the platform, the space to talk about their grief experiences.
That's a good idea because everybody experiences grief differently.
Yeah. And also for them to help them with the process of grief, and also to help people on the journey of grief, which is very important. Because as you know, we don't really talk about grief. Yeah. So,
and it's good to talk.
Yeah. So I feel like having the 7 minutes release podcast. Yeah, having the 7 minutes grief release podcast will allow people the space to come and talk about grief. Yeah.
That's brilliant. I think it's a really good initiative, and that's why African and Caribbean Mental Health Services wanted to partner with you on this, because your passion for seeing people grieve effectively, it was infectious. And I think as people explore that, they may need some assistance unpacking that, or some counselling, and through our partnership they can access that as well.
And that's it. It's very important as people grieve to understand that there's help and support out there. I think as a society, as people, we feel we grieve in isolation, and as people from the outside, they feel that also, that person that's grieving, I just need to give them that little bit of space, and some on both sides it's not good, because the person really needs someone to be around them, and the other people don't know how to support them. So I feel like by us having these types of conversation, we allow people to share their experiences, so other people can share experiences, and also we can grieve together.
That's fantastic. And what will happen is we all grieve uniquely, and so some of the things that happened to me, somebody will relate to, and they'll say, that's what I was going through.
Most definitely, because everyone's grieving journey is different. There's a specialist called David Kessler that talks about, he does a lot of things on grief and bereavement, but one of his statements is that grief is like a fingerprint. It's unique to each person.
Wow.
And when I read that statement, I respected it so much, because sometimes you look at people, you think, they're grieving like this, or... And you know what?
Yeah.
Even when my mum passed, we all grieve differently. And I've got to say, sometimes I thought, but then even that statement, it showed me
the concept
no one the same. Nobody. And we have to respect grief and how someone grieves.
Wow. I personally think, because my dad's recently passed, and we'll probably hear about that later down in the series.
Most definitely.
But it's amazing to see the variety of ways in which some people go into destructive behaviour, some people just go in themselves. And through these podcasts, we're going to see the variations of grieving.
And I think it's important, because the more and more research I've done on grief and loss and stuff, and you look at, there's a model called the 5 stages of grief model.
Okay.
And it shows you that there's 5 stages that you kind of go through. And although it's not linear, that those are the stages that people go through, because it's different for everyone, it kind of helps you to identify that, I'm in this stage, I'm in this stage, I may behave like this in that stage.
And this
that may be related to that. Because if you don't, you kind of think, oh my God, I'm going crazy. You just lost someone that you love. This is taking me in different ways, and people isolate because they're not really used to the behaviours and how they're feeling. But if you understand that there's kind of a stages and you can identify, I think it helps people on the process and helps them to push the process, because the feelings, you have to feel it in order to heal through it. You can't just think, I'm going to ignore it, because it's like you're pushing something under the carpet. So it's important.
It's a really good initiative, and I said it's why we want to work with you on this. How often do you think you'll be doing it?
I think for now we'll do it kind of once a month,
That's good frequency.
Definitely give people a chance to, you know, take in. And already people have contacted me, just definitely saying that this is definitely a great topic. We definitely need it. People have also expressed that they're grieving and they're struggling now. So I think this is a way that people can sit in their own space and just hear other people's, you know, opinions and their experiences, and just feel like, okay.
And that process could be healing
Help
for them
them
as
to
well.
grieve.
Absolutely.
That's what I said. Even though we're not physically together, we're going to grieve together through this
that's
podcast.
lovely.
We're going to grieve together, and it's not saying that we're going to all be in the same stages, but we're going to understand from different people's experiences that there's hope.
Yeah.
You know, that I will feel better one day, or I will put it somewhere where I know how to manage it.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't think you ever get over a loss. I think you learn to live with it. And you learn to put it in a safe space in order to have more of a sound mind of carrying on to live your life. Yeah. So I want to be able to make sure that we all get into those stages and experience them. Because I believe with my grief, mine didn't start till 2 months before the first year memorial.
Wow.
I didn't feel like I felt anything.
Yeah.
And then,
you probably know.
Yeah, 2 years before. I didn't even feel like I was numb. I just felt like I came to terms, and I was like appreciative of how it was.
Yeah.
And I just was, do you know what I mean? I was appreciative, but 2 months before, started to feel like how I should have felt when we was in the hospital and we were brought home. You know, those kind of feels there. And I was like really thinking, oh my God, this is how I should have felt then. So delayed grief. And
I'm wondering if I'm feeling that, because I remember because of how my relationship was, I felt really close, and I still do. So that connectedness is there. And I think when we spoke before, we were saying that faith has a big part of that as well.
Most definitely. If it's not for my faith and my spirituality, I don't think, and I thank God for it, I feel I would have grieved in a different way.
Yeah.
Most definitely. It's definitely been my balance and my way of looking at things without questioning.
Yeah.
You know, because we all want to question death and why.
Yeah.
And it's fine, because it's a way of grieving. You took away someone I love. I want to tell you, that's fine. But we can't continue that. So there's got to be a time where we reach that space where it's like, okay, this is where it is for me. And you know that person wants that for you. Because that's one thing I know for me, when I look at grief and loss, I just think that person that went never wanted you to be like that. No way. You know, when I think of it, my mum would be like, Carlette, fix up yourself. Girl, go fix up yourself. You know, and I do cry. I do have the odd times. And
you cry?
Yeah.
Come on now.
If you see some of the things that I do, and they're my own personal rituals for me and my mum, for me to do my grieving. And that's what I want to show people as well. I have some workshop, is that you can create your own ritual, because only you know who your loved one is and how it was. Do you know what I mean? So therefore you have to create it around you. What is for me, my sister might say, well, that's got nothing, that doesn't express nothing to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Unique.
So, and these are things that can help you on your healing journey. You know, it's not something that you need to be scared of. It's something that you need to help you to process it. And eventually you might be like, okay, that's fine. But it helps with the process.
There are so many people who are going to love this, because I know people who are thinking, oh, I can't wait to get involved in this or see how it happens. If somebody wants to be involved, how do they get hold of you?
Well, they could actually contact us even through the Afro-Caribbean Health Services, couldn't it? Yeah.
Or reach out on your socials.
Yeah, on my social medias. But for now, if they want, they can get through for Afro-Caribbean Mental Health Services. Or when the first podcast goes out.
I'll put the details just up here.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely reach out. I have put it out. I'm sure, you know, Afro-Caribbean will put it out too.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure many people will be sharing it.
And through this 7-minute grieving process, we'll all heal together.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to sharing some other experiences, and obviously kind of building awareness and educating people.
Just before we finish this one, COVID has got a lot to answer for the whole period. Certain people didn't have their 9 nights. They couldn't have their cultural ways of dealing with death. There were numbers limited. that must be hidden in some people and causing some damage.
Delayed grief. Delayed grief. A lot of people working in mental health, as you know, I've worked in mental health for 25 years and I've seen a lot of it, the delayed grief, and it's affecting people. I just want to share something with you on a report that I looked up. Just give me a sec.
I think one of your early guests is going to be one of our counsellors.
Yeah,
Sonia.
Sonia.
Oh, she's got so much to unpack. Everybody, look forward to this one because it's going to be a good way to kick it off.
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting people, and we're going to hear about some interesting souls of people.
I like that
because it's also about the people that has gone on.
Yeah.
And
it's
also recognising them and honouring them.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, my mum passed away 2 years on Wednesday, the 16th of August.
Wow.
And it's also, again, when people are grieving, they feel like the person they've lost, people have pushed them away now. We're not allowed to bring them open, and it's not that.
Absolutely.
We need to let them know that they're still recognised. People still remember them in their heart, their memories and things.
Beautiful.
And I think this is where it's going to be really beautiful show. So I just wanted to share. So the UK Commission on Bereavement done a report in 2020 and said across England and Wales, 614,000 people died during 2020 and 2021, leaving an estimated 3 million people facing bereavement.
Wow, that's a lot of grief.
Yeah, and I think that numbers is way higher than that, you know. So if you think about it as a society, we are actually sitting on grief and loss, and we don't know how to process it, and it's showing up in so many different ways and affecting so many different parts of our life because we haven't had the space or the specialist support like what Afro-Caribbean Mental Health can offer, or the one-to-one counselling that can help you to process the grief, you know, and talk about it. Because sometimes you don't want to go to your family members because everyone has their own opinion on the loved one. That can be the politics within our community as well. Oh, mum was like this, or dad was like this, or you was his favourite. So sometimes you want to go into a safe space where it's not someone that you know, just to be able to unpack that grief, you know, confidential. I know that,
I think
you know
you're doing
what,
something really special here, you know.
very
something
important.
Very special because there are people who don't know how to unpack what they're going through, and these little 7-minute podcasts might just draw them to really tap into that and get some support. Yeah,
most definitely. And that's what we're hoping that I'm hoping that this will make that we get that support around grief and loss. We start to talk more of a community about
normalise
and dying, you know. Also for people that are in that stage where they might be, that we don't kind of isolate them, that they're on their own. You know, we're able to have the conversation and, you know, nurture them through that space as well, because I actually found it an honour to nurture my mother through her space, you know. They're the things that make me today, you know, really feel like, you know what, walk and be proud, you know, because I nurtured her through her final 5 days. You know, we done everything, and, you know.
And now you get into share it with other people and sharing together.
Yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful journey, everybody. I'm glad you're going to join us on it. Thank you for the initiative. We're so happy and proud to be partnering with you. And watch this space, 7-minute
grief relief.